What's up guys, Cap here, and welcome into episode 4 of building a tiny Lego city. Today will basically be the last final episode of me actually building buildings. I'll have another episode out in a few days kind of showcasing the entire city. In today's episode, we'll be building a stained glass church, a club/bar, a ramen shop, as well as one more sort of roadblock for me to raise one more building up out of the city. As mentioned before, I decided to do a stained glass church. I want to do a church for like the big grand sort of feel that some churches can have. And I especially wanted to try the stained glass effect. I went with like a dark gray color scheme with this since I didn't have too many dark gray buildings, and with the stained glass I basically just stacked a bunch of sort of colored tiles to make this really cool sort of stained glass effect. Put a stack of white bricks behind the stained glass to sort of illuminate it more, and I put a bunch of little clips on top of the actual like part of the roof, and it made for this really cool sort of effect that I really like. Here is the finished church building, and I gotta say it turned out really adorable. I especially really liked how the stained glass effect turned out. Like I think that just looks spectacular, and it's definitely my favorite part of this build for sure. I also like the big like wooden door outside of the church, and I also really especially like the little sort of details above the roof there with those clip pieces. It just adds a lot of extra detail, and I really like how they look. I went with a smooth all black roof style for this mock, and overall it just ends up looking really nice, and I just really enjoy how this little mock looks. Like, it's a cute little mock to go in the city, and I definitely enjoy how it looks. My brother Sam requested for me to do a bar in the city, and I kind of like that idea, so I decided to basically build a bar into my city. It's something that you don't see in a lot of Lego cities, so I decided to add it. I went with this sort of like bright lime color scheme because I want another pretty colorful building to sort of stand out in my city, and while I didn't have a ton of lime bricks, I found a bunch from the Scooby-Doo mystery machine. There's also a small sliver of light gray building, well, light gray and dark gray, that's to the right of the bar, so I had an extra 2 studs. And on the second floor, I basically put the service sign from the Lego Ideas friend set. I put a small sort of mug of beer above the service sign, which is sort of symbolize that, you know, there's alcohol and drinks in the bar here, and I went with this sort of more brown color scheme on the second floor, which does complement the lime on the bottom pretty well. Here is the finished bar building. I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with how this little guy turned out. I especially like the lime sort of color scheme on the bottom with the doorway, and since this is a mystery machine, there was this little note like sticker, which I liked. I think the little service sign with the little glass mug full of beer honestly turned out pretty cool. We also got a little street light to the right of that, and I do also like how the little sliver of gray building looks. Like, it's a nice compliment to the bar. I like the sort of gray clips I use in the top. That's a nice bit of added detail, and I even put a little skylight on the roof, which is also cool. And overall, I'm pretty happy how the bar looks. You know, it's a nice little addition to the city. Basically, the next sort of thing that I decided to do with my city was build one more sort of road plate so I could add one more building to the elevated part. If you saw in the last episode, I worked on raising my entire city, which ended up looking really cool. But since I wanted some more room in the city for a couple more buildings, I decided to add one more basically block of road so I can now add one extra building to the raised part of the city. It's the exact same sort of road system as the last one, so it fits together pretty flawlessly, but what I decided to do with this one was build a little drawer so I could basically put a bunch of little black pins inside. I've used so many black pins in connecting each of the buildings, so I decided it'd be nice to have a little spot to store them, so that's where all of my black pins go, is inside the little drawer. Here's the finished sort of block of road that I made, and I gotta say, it does look pretty cool. Obviously, it's the same sort of road system that is with the other larger block of road, so it matches up to each other. And basically with the drawer, I'm able to store a bunch of loose black pins inside for when I need them to connect up with other buildings, and this can go in and out of there pretty easily. It just clicks into place, and it's just a nice little place for me to store some pins in case I need them. Like the rest of the road blocks, I'm basically able to place a building on top of there so it looks nice flush against the road, and I also left some pins so it is in fact able to connect up with the larger road block. So it connects up with the larger road block pretty flawlessly, and while it's not gonna be something that you really notice too much in the city or see too much of, it's pretty important and it looks pretty nice. So for the 10th and final building in my tiny Lego city, I basically decided to make a ramen shop since I wanted another restaurant, and I also wanted to kind of experiment with different cultures in my city. I decided the right half would be the sort of actual building with the ramen shop, and the left half would have some more sort of like Japanese signs, as well as a sort of like lantern sort of thing. It's a cool piece I found, and I like the look of it, so I just decided to have like a little park sort of to the right. I also used some chopsticks and a bowl for a sign that I kind of put above the shop, and for the Japanese writing, I mainly got it from this Monkey Kid set that my brother has, so shout out to my brother for letting me borrow some of his parts. Here is the finished ramen shop, and honestly, I am pretty happy how this little guy turned out. I especially like the little like Pigsy's ramen sticker from the Monkey Kid line that just fits really well, and we also got the little ramen and the chopsticks on top of the shop. Got the little Japanese style lantern in the corner there, and also some more Japanese writing. If somebody could translate that would be sick, actually. If anybody knows Japanese, that'd be sick. But yeah, this is the ramen shop, and it's a nice little addition to the city. I like how it looks. That's gonna do it for episode 5 5 of my Building a Tiny Lego City series. I'm not really going to show the entire city yet because I'm just about done with the city. All I have to do is sort of reconfigure the buildings to find out the best sort of configuration for them. For now, I'm just showing footage of the buildings that I built this episode. You're gonna have to wait for the final city for the next and final episode, which is gonna be epic. Like, I'm absolutely sick. That'll be out in a few days. Stay tuned. Well, this is Seabrook Productions. So for now, make sure to like and subscribe if you'd like to stay up to date with my latest content and help me at 500 subscribers. We're just slowly on the road to that. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Peace.